Hello everybody and welcome to another video. This video is going to be a tutorial on how to set up GameMaker with Ubuntu. That way you can compile your games for Linux and distribute them to Linux users. Let's get right into it. First thing we're going to need is Ubuntu. You can get that at ubuntu.com. Go right up here to where it says Get Ubuntu. Go to download Ubuntu desktop and download this right here. It's gonna thank you, and then it should bring up a little prompt right here to save it. I already have it, so I'm not going to download it again. Next, what we're gonna do is we're going to get VirtualBox. You could use Hyper-V for this if you have Windows 10 or 11 Pro, but this video is going to be for VirtualBox because this will work for everyone. So in the description, you can head to virtualbox.org. It's going to bring you to their homepage right here. You can go to downloads right here, or there's a big old download button right here. I recommend going with the latest version. If you for some reason wanted to go with an older version, I would not recommend 7.0. That one was giving me a lot of trouble. So if you're going to go for an older version, don't go with 7. Go ahead and just go with 7.1, and we can go right down here to where it says Windows hosts. It's going to fetch our file right here and you can save it. I have already downloaded it and I have uninstalled it, so that way we can go through the process together. So once you have that downloaded, just open the file and it's going to get you to this page right here. Just go ahead and click next. Go ahead and click next. We don't want to mess with any of this. It's going to warn you that it will probably reset and just drop your network connection real quick while it installs. It's fine, just go ahead with the installation. We are missing a dependency, so it is going to install that right here, Python Core Win32 API. You can customize this if you want. I just recommend leaving all of these checked, especially like some of these like register file associations. That's a really big term right there. We don't want to mess anything up, so let's just go ahead and leave everything checked and click next. It's gonna pretty much say ready to install. This is the final page. Click install right here. It's not gonna take that long. And here we are. Start Oracle VirtualBox 7.1. So we're gonna finish that and it's gonna start it right up. As you can see, I already have a VM, but we are going to create a new VM. Now, when you get to this page, it's probably gonna ask you if you want to use, I believe it's called the basic or the advanced version. I just went ahead with basic. We're not going to be doing anything too complicated here. I'm going to show you how to set everything up, so just go with the basic and let's just take it from here. When you get on a screen like this, obviously you won't have a VM, but we're just going to head right up here to where it says new. I'm just going to call this video Ubuntu, and it might already have this populated with Ubuntu if you want, but then you can select your ISO image. I have 2 right here, but these probably won't pop up for you, so just go ahead and click other. And then I have these in my downloads, so just go ahead and find your Ubuntu download. Go ahead and check mark where it says skip unattended installation. In this page right here, it's all grayed out because we're skipping it. It's basically just a way to just set up everything for you. You can even install some of the guest editions, which might be good for performance, but we're just going to go ahead and skip that. Just set it all up ourselves. Go down into hardware. Now, if you're wondering how much RAM you should allocate to this virtual machine, go ahead and open up your calculator, type in 1024, and then multiply it by how many gigabytes you need. So if you're running a system with 8 gigabytes, I would just recommend the minimum 2 gigs of RAM to allocate to it. If you have more than 8, I would go ahead and do 4, but I have 32 gigabytes, so I'm just going to allocate 8 gigabytes of RAM to this VM. So we're just going to type in right here 8192. And for your processors, if you have a dual core processor, which I'm not sure who does in 2024, but just keep it at 1. If you have 4 cores, I would recommend bumping it up to 2, But then after 4 cores, I would just recommend bumping it up to 4. And I'm just going to bump it up to 6 since my processor has 16 cores on it. Now go ahead and go into hard disk. Just go to create a virtual hard disk now. We are going to change this to 30 gigabytes. 25 might be fine, but I'm just giving it that extra headway, and it's not going to take up all this space at once unless you checkmark pre-allocate full size. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go with how it is right now, just adding that 30 gigabytes. And now we're going to press finish. Now there's a few more things we need to do. We are going to right click this, go into settings, and this is the real important one. Go into network, and where it shows this adapter 1, right where it says attached to, go ahead and set that to bridged adapter. And now I just am doing this just so that I can have a little more leeway with this, but I am going to go ahead and up my video RAM to 64 megs. Probably not needed, but it's just going to make it a little smoother for me, I found. So let's just go ahead and click OK. And now we can start up our VM. So what you can do right here is you can just minimize this. Let's go ahead and expand this. We can hide that little tooltip menu. And right here, we're going to get to our grub screen. So the first option that is selected is try or install Ubuntu, which is exactly what we want. So we're going to press enter. Alright, so Ubuntu right here is loading, and in a few moments we will be in the operating system and can install it. Alright, so we are going to get to a screen like this. Now I am just going to skip through these first little parts because, oh, see, we already have a little issue. Just go ahead. Alright guys, I am back. I was having some issues with the VM and I just restarted my whole computer. So if that happens, that's what I recommend. Alright, we seem to be going good. I am going to breeze through this real quick, just because after this networking page, make sure you can click next with use wired connection. It's going to ask you to update the installer. It may not ask you this, but it's asking me this. So if this pops up, just go ahead and just update that installer. I believe after I downloaded Ubuntu, there was maybe a new version or a new patch released. And so this is just going to make sure we have everything recent. It's going to ask you to close the installer, but it's going to pop up here and down here. Let's just go ahead and run it one more time. Okay, so that sounded a little cursed, but we are at the installer and we can go ahead and go through with this. So it's going to ask you to choose a language. You can go ahead and choose whatever language you speak. It's going to ask you about accessibility. This is a virtual machine, so even if you need some of these accessibility settings, I'm not sure how much you're going to need them in a virtual machine, so this is honestly up to you. Just go ahead and click next. Select your keyboard layout. I am in the US, so I'm just going to go with the standard English US keyboard layout. Now on connect to the internet, just use wired connection. We have that bridged adapter, so you shouldn't need to do anything else here. Go ahead and go with the interactive installation rather than the automated. The automated is for more maybe advanced users. And let's just go with the default selection. We don't want anything extra, except let's install some third-party software for graphics and Wi-Fi hardware. This is probably going to fetch some packages that VirtualBox may need to run a little bit smoother. You can download some extra media formats if you want. I don't recommend it because we are going to be installing the FFmpeg package, and that's a little bit of a pain to update if you download this and say it downloads an older version. So just leave this unchecked. Let's go to next. Go ahead and select erase disk and install Ubuntu. Again, we have a virtual hard disk. This isn't going to do anything to your system. So just go ahead and keep this selected. Hit next. We're going to create our little user account. So my name is Micah. Computer's name, I'm just going to call it VBox. Keep everything short. Password, I'm just going to make VM. Doesn't need to be anything super secure because this is a VM. You can uncheck this if you want. I would do this in the past, but it seems to always revert, so I don't think there's any use in doing that. Go ahead and click next, select your time zone, and it's going to say ready to install, and it's just going to basically show you all your choices. So let's go ahead and click the install button. So this is going to take a little while, so feel free to do whatever you want, but we are going to cut to where this thing is ready. Okay, so Ubuntu has just finished installing. What we're going to do right now is we're going to click the restart button. It's going to restart our VM. Now it might come up with an error. Let's just wait. Yep, please remove the installation medium and press enter. Just press enter right now. This should do it. Alright, so I was wrong. Power off the VM and start it back up again. And then we just log in. So we're going to get to this welcome to Ubuntu. Just click next. It's going to ask you if you want to enable Ubuntu Pro. Just do skip for now. Then I don't recommend sharing any system data with Canonical. It's a VM and they don't really need to know about it. So just don't share your system data and just click finish. Now one thing I am going to do is I'm going to go to settings, go to displays, and then I recommend just making everything a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go to 1920 by 1080. Keep changes. So now we've got Ubuntu ready to go. So if you want this tutorial right down here, we can just go ahead and open it up in Firefox. It's going to make things a little more handy. And if you see this, you should be all good, connected to the internet. If you just want to pull up that page, just search GameMaker Ubuntu, and it should come right up, setting up for Ubuntu. Go ahead and accept the cookies, and we're going to make this a little bit smaller. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go ahead and open up our terminal. Alright, so this is the tutorial from Yo-Yo themselves, and we're basically just going to go through everything. So, first, always good to do sudo apt-get update. Just make sure all of our packages are up to date. It is going to ask for your password since it is sudo, and it's going to update this. Alright, with that out of the way, we're just going to clear our console, and we are going to start installing our packages. Now, one thing you can do is you can copy and paste inside the terminal, but do not use Control-V. That means something entirely different in the context of the Linux terminal. So if you want to copy anything into the terminal, just good old right-click and paste. Okay? So now we should be good just to start typing in these package names, which the first one is build-essential. Oh, essential. And now some of these are going to ask us a yes or no question. Just press yes. And that's just going to continue on with the installation. Alright, so now that that package is done, we can just go ahead and press the up arrow to get our most recent command, and we can just erase all that and type in the next package we need, which is open ssh-server. Continue, and now we're going to go ahead and install Clay. Alright, and so our next package is going to be libssl-dev, and we are going to be installing a lot of lib packages, so it may get a little confusing, but just follow along and you should be fine. So that one is now installed. We now want the next package, which is libxrandr-dev. And then the next one, I'm going to keep it libx because this is libxxf86vm-dev. And now we are going to install lib openal-dev. -dev. Now this is where it can get real confusing, so I'm just going to highlight this, that way I can stay along and you can stay along. So these next two packages are going to be libgl1-mesa-dev, and then after that it is going to be libglue1-mesa-dev. Now we are pretty much done with all of our lib packages. The next one, we need is zlib1g-dev. We're also going to want libcurl4-openssl-dev. Now it is time for package ffmpeg. Now the next package we need is libfuse2. Next package after this is curl. You may be saying, well, didn't we just install something called curl? Well, these are two separate packages, so just go ahead and install curl. Now nproc, we're going to get to nproc. You should have this installed already, so just go ahead and type in nproc, and it's going to give you a number. These are going to be how many CPU cores you have in your VM. So we already have nproc installed. That lets us skip a step. And so the very last package we need is pulse audio. Alright, now I did mention this before, this little blog post right here, these two packages. They should be installed already, but just to cover all bases, I am going to go ahead and install them again. libcurl4, it should give you an error saying it's already installed. Yep, there we go. Pretty much did nothing. And the next one is libopenal1. Again. And again, pretty much installed. Alright, so let's go ahead and just clear our console. And we are going to get down to a few more specifics. Now, we do need to bypass a certain security restriction. So there's this big command right here. We're just going to copy and paste it. And there we go. Run this. Just going to show you this. It's pretty much we just disabled the security right here. That way we can, you know, use Ubuntu with GameMaker. Now we are going to get down to the app image packages. So we're going to have a few commands right down here. So let's just clear our window once again, and let's type in sudo mkdir for make dir, and the directory we're going to make is /opt/steam-runtime. And so we have that. If you want to just confirm that, we can go to cd/opt/ and then we can just list this and see we have Steam runtime. Alright, now we have this big command that we just want to copy paste in. Make sure you get all of it. It's a curl command. That's why we installed curl. And go ahead and run it. This is going to take a few minutes, so I will get right back with you once this installs. Alright, so our Steam runtime has installed. Next, the package on the list is going to be Linux deploy. So we are going to run this command right here. Go ahead and just copy paste it. Paste that right there. Run it. And there we go. Now we are going to install said package because we just got it. But now we need to install. Alright, so just to check that, we are going to go cd usr/local/bin it appears I forgot a little slash right there. And then just to see if it installed, we are just going to ls. And we can see Linux deploy. We're just going to keep that open because now we need app image. We're going to run another wget command. So go ahead and copy and paste that into the terminal. And again, we are going to copy and run, we're going to copy and run the install command. Oh, just hit Control V. Do not do that. And then once again, if we go back here and type ls, we can see we have both app image tool and Linux deploy. And that is it for the setup. One thing we're going to do is we are going to clear our window. And next, we're just going to follow these steps in GameMaker itself. Now, one important step we're going to do here is we're going to type in the command ipaddr. And we are going to want this IP address right here. Now, none of this is public, so don't be thinking you're going to be able to hack me or, get into my network or anything. This is not public at all. This right here is your loopback IP address, and this right here is the IP address of our virtual machine. So, we're going to take this information right here. Let's just minimize this, and let's start up GameMaker. Alright, so I am using the latest version of GameMaker. I'm going to open our project right here. And as you can see, we are now on a blank screen. Now, one thing you can do is you can go to these sidebar right here, go to Game Options, and go to Ubuntu, and this is where you can fill in all of your information about your game. For example, this is version 1.1 of my game, so I'm going to put that right here. I'm going to click apply and then OK. And essentially, we don't need to do anything in here. What we want to do is right up here. So by default, this is going to have Windows selected, and it's probably going to be VM, which is GameMaker's own virtualized code environment. We're going to go right down to Ubuntu, make sure you have that installed, and output. If you're going to compile your game instead of just testing it, you're going to want YYC. This just completely compiles all your code. It's not being virtually ran. This compiles it down, makes it a lot faster. So just go ahead and select this. Now, one thing we are going to do is we have device right here. This will be blank. Go ahead and click this pencil right here, device editor, and we can remove this device right here, or let's just go ahead and remove it. We're going to add a new device. So the display name, this is just whatever you want to call it. So I'm just going to call this Video Ubuntu. That's the name of our machine. The host name is that IP address right here. So it's an internal address, so 192.168.1.137, I believe it was. Oh, 137. I'm not sure what was going on right there. Our username, Our username, of course, is what we filled in for our username. So for me, it's Micah. Our password is VM. Click show password right there. And now we're going to hit the button that says test connection. And it's going to say that the connection was successful. And there, you have just set everything up. Now, one thing you can do is you can click run. And you're going to want to pay attention to the console down here because it's going to tell you if anything went wrong. But we're going to be waiting for a message that says success. Alright, so it looks like entering main loop. I believe that's what we're looking for. And you can see right here, we have the game. And we can go ahead and play if we want. Obviously, it's not going to run super well in the VM. Expected. But success, we've done it. Now, what if you want to build your game? Well, we're going to go into build right here, or I believe this button right here, create executable. And you're going to see right here, it's going to want to create a app image file. So we're going to go into this little folder I have. You can save this anywhere you want, call it whatever you want. So I'm just going to call this video, and it's going to be called video.appimage. We're going to save it, and this right here is where you want to see success. So we're just going to let it build. Success, package program complete, and it's going to pop up right here. Alright, so you have your game and you have it built, but how about running it? So when you release your game, you may want to include a few install instructions for how to run it, because once the user downloads the app image, they may double click it and nothing runs. Well, go ahead and right click this, properties, and make sure executable as program is turned on. Now, when you double click the game, it is going to run. So that's just a tip for you if you are running any games in Linux, and a tip for install instructions that you can leave for your users who download this game. Now, obviously, there may be a few more things you want to do with it. Maybe you want to add an icon. Maybe you want to have an installer for your game. Well, unfortunately, GameMaker doesn't really cover that. So that is going to be for a future tutorial. Alright, that is going to do it for this tutorial. Hopefully, everything has worked out. You have run your game in the VM, and you have created a build. If you like this video and want to see more like it, make sure you leave a thumbs up, subscribe, that really helps out the channel, and I will see you all next time. Thank you for watching.